That is where we are, and we are about to start chapter 7. And the question is, was the rapture in chapter 4 when John went through the open door? Most people say so. But let's look at chapter 7, because what we're really seeing is, at this point, again, we've talked about why the world is going to be judged with the sealed judgments. But now let's talk about the judgments that are actually coming as the Great Tribulation, or the 7-year period, opens. This is where in chapter 7 that the 7-year judgment period opens. Before this, it's just been the world as we know it. But now the 7-year period. And what are we going to see? Let's read chapter 7:1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, and that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. So there are 4 angels, and they're God's angels, and they're holding back the wind. Remember, Satan is the prince of the power of the air. That means the wind is just a disturbance that Satan is causing. And the angels are holding back Satan's disturbance because God's about to do something. God is going to do something. And so we're going to see what that is right now. So, and I saw in verse 2, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of God in their foreheads. So we're about to see God seal 144,000 Jewish saints. 144,000, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes. He's going to seal them in their foreheads. The forehead is interesting because it is a symbol of it's the place where we think. It's the place where we receive our senses. So we take in information from the world and we act on that information. So it's a very important, it's our personality right there in the forehead. And God is sealing the servants, the 144,000 servants in the forehead. You know, other people have been sealed in the foreheads. Antichrist seals people in their foreheads so that all they think about is evil. God seals his servants so that all they think about is him. And so this is the meaning of this seal, and they are going to be protected. These 144,000 will be protected as they go about their plan, as they go about God's plan and God's will for them. So let's keep going. So in verse 4, the angels, John says, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they that were sealed were 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And so now in these verses, he's going to go through it, and he's going to say 12,000 from Judah, 12,000 from Reuben, and so on and so on. And it is, notice they're all 12,000 from each tribe. There's not more from bigger tribes. There's not less from smaller tribes. It's a equal distribution among the tribes of Israel, 12,000 from each. And so then, why is God sealing these people? Why is God sealing these Jews? And I'll tell you why, because this is the really cool part. Because these Jews are going to begin the evangelization of the world, and including the nation Israel, to call people to Christ. Why? We're going to see right here in verse 9. You're going to see what John sees. John sees, he says, after this, after the sealing of the 144,000, he said, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb. They're in heaven, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God, which sits on the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and they all fell before the throne of God on their faces, and they worshiped God. Why are they worshiping God? Why does anybody worship God? Because God deserves it. Why? Does that mean I have to generate this feeling of, oh, I got to worship God because God demands it? No. It's because when you realize what you are about to receive in the kingdom of heaven, and you realize that you have done absolutely nothing to deserve it, you are no better than any other person. What makes you different is you have believed God, and they have not believed God. And so you realize, wow, God did the work to save me. He died on the cross to save me. I haven't done anything. And so you are filled with this feeling of gratitude, and you do worship, and it's natural worship. It's not like I got to make it happen. No. And they're thrilled. They are thrilled up there in heaven as they are worshiping God. And so they say and they cry out, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. So now, in the next verse, John asks one of the elders, he says, actually, one of the elders asks him, he says, what are these people who are arrayed in these white robes? Where did they come from? And John said, I don't know, sir, you know. And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. There's 144,000, and they are being sent on a mission to evangelize the world. Why? Because the first team, the church, that has been doing it for 2,000 years plus, the church is now being taken out. So team one is being taken out of the earth and raptured because the Great Tribulation's coming. And the next team, the Jewish 144,000, are going to go into the world. They're sealed. They're safe. They're sealed with the protection of the Father on their heads. And that team is going to go, and it's now the Israel's turn to evangelize the world. So this is just the change of team. And now, from now on, we're going to see it's the 144,000 who are evangelizing. And we're going to see the 7-year period, the tribulation, and the rapture of the church and the sealing of the 144,000 comes first. Then the 7 trumpets start rolling out. And those 7 trumpets are in chronological order. And those 7 trumpets span the 7-year tribulation. And we're going to see what happens during the tribulation. And we're going to see that in my opinion, that this church in chapter 7 has been raptured before the tribulation. Chapter 7 is the rapture of the church, and it happens because there's a change of team. So let's just say the last thing about this scene in heaven, this incredible scene of worship, and this place where you want to be. You need to be here. I pray that you will receive Christ. It's simply believing what he says, knowing you're a sinner, and you just go to him. And, you don't go and say, oh, I better clean up before I go to Christ. No, you can't clean up until you go to Christ. And then you think, oh, well, I want to keep doing this thing. Well, we'll see what happens after you come to Christ. It will be a change of mind. It will be a revolution in your mind. You won't be the same person. So I encourage you to take that leap of faith. I encourage you to do this now. The end is very, very near. And I have videos to show that as well. Okay, so let me just finish these last verses. Therefore, because these are the ones who came out of the great tribulation, therefore they are before the throne of God and serve him day and night. Why? They want to. They don't want to be away from him ever, ever. They are in his temple, and he that sits on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, thirst no more. They will not receive the sunlight beating on them anymore. Why? Because they are now comfortable. The race is over. The Lord has saved them and brought them into his kingdom, and there is no more pain or suffering anymore. And these people have suffered for the word and the worship of God, for the word of the gospel. And so it's the race is over. Now for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them into living fountains of water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. So that is our great Lord. Okay, so next time we'll do the 7. We're going to now look at the tribulation 7 years. We're going to do it in order, and you're going to be surprised what this Bible says about what's coming. So now let's just see if you have any questions. And okay, here's a question. Here's a little comment from EMM. Hi, M. He says, bro, I'm not, okay, I'm bro. You don't have to yap about God. Like if people don't want to be Christian, then they don't have to. I agree. Oh my goodness, it doesn't matter. I mean, what I say to you is encouraging you, but I can't change your mind, and I'm really not interested in. I say what God has taught me, and I believe God has taught me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. God is teaching me, and I say what He wants me to say. And I would say it whether you were listening or not. It wouldn't matter. As John the Baptist said, I'm a voice of one crying in the wilderness. Make straight the paths of the Lord. I'll cry out to anybody. But I know not everybody will or hear me. You know, if Jesus was sitting here, you wouldn't hear him either, some of you, but I encourage you to realize, and I'm trying to show you that these prophecies, they tell you, if I tell you what's coming next and it happens, maybe you'll start believing that God really knows what's coming next, and maybe you should listen to him. You know, life's not all about fun and games. It's much better than that. It's about serving the living God. It's better than that. It's about being loved by the living God. So I encourage you to follow along with me and subscribe so that you can follow the rest of these chapters. Because right now in chapter 7 is where we are really starting up the future prophecies. So, okay, guys, I hope that you will heed me. But as I said, I'd say it anyway. I really would. Doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. I know what my Lord has taught me. So, okay, subscribe. Let's see what he teaches you. Thanks, guys. I see you soon.